All right. So welcome everyone. Thank you for being here to all my panelists and to everyone who's joining us in attendee. So we're gonna get started with the panel discussion, building a new school management system to enhance efficiency. So before we, dive into the questions and the introductions, I'm just going to do a quick overview of who Junicasoft is, why we're doing this, what we're trying to accomplish. So on my next slide, here I have a quick overview of Junicasoft. We're actually a bunch of techies, right? We have this technology. We like to put things together. We know how to do it. We're fast and efficient, and we're now working on a new all-in-one integrated educational platform. And we're actually, being guided by experts, so by people who actually use these platforms on a day-to-day, who know what the problems are out there, who know what the issues they have with the current platforms. So we're being guided by them. And again, our technology allows us to create this customized, flexible solution and create new solutions as well. So with that being said, we're open to doing pilots. We're open to, if you have ideas, if you have any thoughts on, hey, I've been dealing with this issue with the current platform, or I need, I have a manual task and I would love for someone to automate it for me. Please, feel free to reach out. We're happy to, to do a pilot and work with you guys, just like we're working with the panelists that I have on here to make sure that we can create those pilots for you. Feel free to scan the QR code, send your information, and we'll make sure to reach out to you. And so before we actually jump into our questions, I would like to go around the table and introduce each of the panelists that we have here. I'll start with myself. I'm Angelica Vargas. I work for Junicasoft. I'm the product marketing director and director of partnerships. And yeah, I'm super excited to be here. Super excited to, talk about some of the challenges that, teachers and admins have in regards to the systems, that they have to manage on a daily basis. And I'm going to turn it over to Amanda. If you can just do a quick intro on yourself, your role, that would be great.
Okay, hi, I'm Amanda Matheson. I'm an assistant program director for educational support services. I work for the Allegheny Intermediate Unit in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I work with ESL program. We provide support to the school districts, and I also work with the non-public school programs as well.
Thanks, Amanda. I'll take it to Daniel.
Hi, my name is Dan Weber. I'm a high school principal at a school district called Wilson on the East Coast near Reading, Pennsylvania. We have a population of about 2,200 kids in our high school. I oversee everything from evaluations to scheduling in our building.
Thanks. Luis.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Luis Alves. I'm from Brazil. I work at the Stouco College. I'm a teacher of biology and robotics, and I have the task of organization of a lot of projects in all the schools in different kinds of ages.
Thanks, Luis. And Oleg.
Hi, everybody. My name is Oleg, and I'm one of the founders of an after-school STEM center. We service kids from 5 years old and older. We have a number of different programs that we offer for students. We do also different types of events and different types of activities that deal with students of all different ages and backgrounds. And like I said, it's a private STEM center for students.
Thank you. So as you guys can see, it is different. We have different backgrounds, different areas of expertise here, and we're super excited to go into the actual questions. And one of them being, the automation part, which I just talked about, automating those manual tasks. But the first question, and I'll ask Amanda to get us started with this, is do you think, automating the systems or automating the processes that you have, is it worth the investment? Or do you think, a lot of people say if it already works, why change it?
Okay, so in considering this question, I definitely lean towards yes, it is worth the investment. And to give you some background on this, I work in a very unique program because we're providing services in my current program where we're working with school districts on the ESL part of things. So we're working with school districts who have existing student management systems, and on the non-public side of things, the same. They have their own management systems. So organizing student data and keeping track of everything, the way that we have to for the accountability in the programs that I work with doesn't quite fit with the typical model. So, it's a lot of student data. We work with a lot of school districts, and the county is huge, if you're familiar with Allegheny County. And, so we work with a very transient population, on the ESL side of things. And it takes a lot of manual effort, labor to just keep up with tracking students, tracking their information, keeping and compiling all that information together. So it's a big, I'm sorry, it's a pretty big lift, to maintain that information, to keep all of that information in one place. There's a lot of accountability with that. So, there's a lot of keeping on top of that, takes a lot of time. It's very time intensive. And, having an automated approach to that helps to make sure that you're, looking at a systems approach to make sure everything is connected, that the, your data is clean, that, that you're connecting your systems together, that it's freeing up your time to be able to do other things that are also very important as part of running a program. So I do think that automation is definitely worth that investment, because you get that opportunity cost to be able to put more time and effort into the things that really truly matter, with supporting the teachers, supporting curriculum, ultimately supporting those better student outcomes.
Awesome. And I mean, Oleg, you as a founder, you also have to look into this part where, where I'm going to invest in, where do I want to start? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, one of the things we have to keep in mind is, as an after-school STEM center, and we're located right outside of Philadelphia, we have a very diverse population. But we have to keep in mind that there's certainly the component of managing students, managing staff, but also we have to be very closely aligned and keep informed the parents. The parents are a big part of our after-school programs, and they want to be informed. So any software, any process that is automated certainly takes the pressure off of us to keeping the parents engaged and informed. And for us, that is a very worthy investment. At the end of the day, the parents make a decision around, do they bring the kids back? Do they want to keep bringing them? Do they want to do more activities, etc.? So that's one example where we believe investing in any type of automated process certainly benefits internally, our internal process, but certainly those external factors like keeping the parents engaged and informed and up to date, that certainly benefits us as an investment.
Okay, yeah, and I guess as a founder, you're able to make those decisions and how much you're going to put into automating this process. Whereas maybe Daniel or Luis, you guys are actually subject to, what the district says, or if they're going to automate a process for you. Is that correct for me to say, Daniel?
Yeah, I think from our particular lens, I think the question you started off with, Angelica, was if it's not broke, why fix it? Well, I think I can fully say it is broken, because one, the emphasis of what we're doing is on paperwork and not on kids. That's really what's happening. We've become very paper driven in our field at the school level, and that's not what we're supposed to be about. And the reality is, the resources that are needed for us to come off of that are too great for us to put in, and every school is funded differently depending on the needs. So I would say yes, from our particular lens, automation is essential because it frees us up to do what we're supposed to do as professionals in this field. It allows us to personalize the education for a student. We can't automate everything, unfortunately, in a lot of these cases, but everything that we have the opportunity to do without compromising on the essentials within that documentation, I think we owe it to ourselves to at least explore that avenue and see what we can do to make ourselves more effective educators.
Amazing. What are your thoughts, Luis?
I believe it's important because we can save time and resources. I have noticed that with school automation, tasks that take a lot of time and effort, such as managing reports, lesson plans, announcement, cost controls, and other tasks becomes faster than more inaccurate. So I believe it's improved the communication, and this is free the teachers and the administrative staff to focus in what really matters, supporting and inspiring students every day. Students become easier and more efficient with automation. Without this being automation, we are free to uptime, so truly important. Develop the students' education activities. I'm a teacher. I believe this is very important. We have to free time to do our jobs with the students, not lose time with papers or documents, something like this. We can put this in with the save time and the resources with this.
Yeah, I really like what you said, that automation, automating stuff is not only for the admins and the school, but it also helps out the students. I really like that part. Sometimes we kind of leave that, like students, they go and the teachers are there, and the admin is, they're there to help the teachers. But, having stuff that's automated is going to help students as well, move through things faster. So that actually leads me to my next question, which is addressing this misalignment in IT decisions. So, and what I mean by this is I've been doing a lot of interviews, a lot of research in the market, right? And I've spoken to a lot of principals, and I've spoken to a lot of IT directors, and there seems to be, there's this misalignment where, sometimes the district or the IT directors think they have the best tool, and they found, there's no more pains, and the tool is great. But when talking to the principals or the teachers, they're either not using those platforms, they're having a hard time working with them, and they don't even have everything that as a principal that you might need for analytics, for making sure that your teachers are on track. So how do you go about, and I'll start with you, Daniel, about bridging this gap with, hey, yeah, you're providing me with this platform, but it's not working for me, I need this. How do you bridge that gap?
Yeah, I think first starting off and saying it's unfair to expect people at the building level to have the tech savviness to be what the IT department needs them to be, and it's also unfair on the IT's end to expect them to understand all of the needs of the school and understand what are the best resources accordingly. So that communication is really important, and it's important that whatever tools you bring in are very easily manageable on both ends of that. And so I think that's part of the challenge that I often see, is that what an IT person will view as a manageable expectation of onboarding might be a little bit different than an educator who is not extremely tech savvy. And so within that lens, having a platform that really is user friendly is essential to it. And we've implemented some that are not very user friendly, and no matter what the implementation process is, it just doesn't get used. And we see that. And so to some of the comments made in the previous one, that's a complete waste of resources. And so if we're talking about looking at an automated process or anything like that, it has to be user friendly from everyone's standpoint. And I love the perspective of from the student standpoint as well, because we want them using it in this process. So I think when I look at this, that is probably the biggest disconnect, is just those two groups getting together and discussing what's there, because both groups assume that everybody should understand how to utilize this tool, and on the educator part, we should say they should understand what's best for education. That's just not the case.
Absolutely. And Amanda, you're actually on the other side. You get to actually pick, some of the systems that you're going to be using with some of the teachers. So how do you manage that to make sure that they understand the platform? And because you see it one way, you get to see how it truly works, and then they have to do the training and understand what it is for, why you're implementing that. So what are your thoughts on that?
Right. I mean, I'm agreeing with everything Daniel is saying too. You know, my mind goes right to that disconnect, you know, right away with thinking about the user experience. I think that vetting process is so important to be able to look through different lenses. And yes, I'm starting from I'm driving that decision as a user, as an administrator. I don't have the IT background. That's not my primary experience. And so it's originating with me, the decision. So I'm coming into the process of looking at, you know, what I know is the proficiency level of my staff. But I also need to make sure that the whatever we select is going to have the capability and the functions to do what we need it to do. So it does need to have, you know, those components that they're going to meet the needs of reporting, you know, accessing the data that we need to have. So that's where I need to make sure that I can also talk the talk with IT. So it is coming in from a different perspective of, yeah, it could be very user friendly and easy for me, but I also have to equip myself with understanding on the back end of things, of having to do some of that, the tech pieces, and understanding, you know, from that perspective of the questions that I need to ask, and need to check into and be aware of when I'm vetting resources, that I can go back to the tech team to make sure that they can support. I can't just assume anything that I bring in is going to be something that our tech team is going to be able and willing to support. So it is quite different in my role. But it does come down to what Daniel is saying as well, too. I need to address that piece, that there, to make sure there isn't a disconnect, to make sure that there is a sound onboarding process, that we are in alignment, that we're cohesive, because I need to make sure that I'm rolling out, you know, a plan, and having a solid plan that we're in agreement on, that, you know, that the staff is supported, that they understand how to use the technology, and that the IT department has what they need, to be able to support the staff, so that we can be seamless, and that this can be successful to do everything that we need it to do.
Amazing. Yeah. And Oleg, now, as with your perspective, I mean, as again, as a founder, you have to deal with, you know, the investment that you're putting into. Is it the right one? Is it too, you know, is the right one maybe too expensive? You know, maybe the one that, you know, you can invest in, maybe does it have everything that you need? Does it have everything that you teachers need? You know, how does that work for you when, you know, picking the right platform or system for them and making sure that it aligns with their needs?
Yeah, I mean, we might not have sort of the limitations of, you know, having to go through approvals, right? And having very, very detailed assessments of a specific software platform. Perhaps we don't have those limitations, but certainly on the other side, we have to be very careful what solution we pick from a cost perspective, right? We can't get that decision wrong. There's not a lot of funds to go around picking the wrong software and then signing a long-term contract and dealing with something that was not a fit-for-purpose solution, right? So we although we kind of have the flexibility, we also really don't have any room for error in picking the right software. And of course, we want to pick the one that we can certainly address to our needs, customize, configure to our needs, quite quickly and easily. And finding that right solution is always, I would say, a challenge.
Absolutely. So that again brings us to our next question, and is, you know, customization. You know, you have your school management system, you picked it out. Obviously, every school is different. You know, you have your private, you have your public schools, you have your, you know, specialty academies. So every school is different in sizes, everything. And sometimes the platform that you're using for school A might not necessarily work for school B. So do you think customization, like in this school, like for a school management system, is it a necessity, or is just, you know, overkill? It's too much. I have to train my teachers in doing this. I have to teach them how to, you know, use this new system that is going to be beneficial, but, you know, it's probably going to take them a little time to learn it. And I'll start with you, Luis, as a teacher. You know, I know you rather spend some time in the classroom, teaching your students. But do you think whenever a new system comes in and that was customized for your school, do you think it's good, or is it just too much because you already have so much going on?
I believe the customization is very important because we have a different kind of projects with the students of PK 12. So we have with different necessities. So the customization brings to us the possibility to do better works with the capability of some changes in the way. So I believe it's important for us teachers have the opportunity to be able to choose what is matter in that time or in another time zone in that class or another class. So it's important we have the possibility of to choose what's better for every kind of work. So here in Brazil, we have different kinds of schools with different reality. Here in my school, we have a great possibility to development projects. So it's very important to us have a customization of the school systems because we can make more efficient works.
Okay, so you think teachers should be able to, customize and have a say in how the system should works. I'm curious to hear your side, Daniel. Do you think, teachers should have that flexibility when it comes to, customizing what, maybe a part of the system that is for them?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with the idea that teachers need to be able to customize on their end. I'll use this as an example. I have 153 professional staff members in my building, and even if you look at on the administrative lens, being able to customize stuff, the average rate for a high school administrator right now in the United States is just over 3 years that they're there. And so if you are not able to customize something and you implement something according to someone's own thought process, you're basically hamstringing your entire school, saying this is the lens that we're going to look at, and this is what's important. Whereas in reality, everybody wears so many different hats. Whether you're in the classroom or you're an administrator by design, so many people in the classroom they do administrative things on a day-to-day basis, and they're going to turn things over to different teachers. You're going to have people serving different roles. The needs of a school are just going to continue to evolve. And so being able to customize and revisit your program over and over again is essential to it being relevant. I can speak very well in this, that school management systems that do not evolve or have the ability for the school to evolve, they get voted out pretty quickly, because you can't be at the mercy of a system when you're saying, I need this particular data to be relevant. I need to be able to do these things in my system. And if you can't, you're going to get a new system, and that's essential to it. So yes, I think teachers should absolutely be involved in the process, and a school management system needs to allow them to customize to what their personality is and things like that, because then they're going to use it more effectively, and it's going to be more relevant for them.
Absolutely. And Amanda, I see you shaking your head. I would love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much more I can elaborate, because it was so well said by both Luis and Daniel. That I think of like how often I see systems that are pre-built and standardized that it becomes so frustrating when teachers are trying to find a way to basically retrofit into a standardized system. And the frustration that comes with that is like forcing them to do something that's changing, a process for them. And, it just derails them from the work that they're trying to do just to make a system work. And that's so counterintuitive to the work that they're trying to do, that, that customization piece, it just goes along with, being fluid with the changing needs and the changing landscape of education and serving the needs of our students. So again, I just to reiterate again what Luis and Daniel are saying, I agree wholeheartedly.
Amazing. And I have an attendee who's raising their hand. I also want to encourage everyone else who's attending, if you feel like there's something that has to be said, if you want to say something, feel free to raise your hand. We'll allow you to talk, we open the microphone. So I'm going to allow the microphone or give it over to Anthony. There you go. You should be able to talk now. Let me see. You're on mute, so you might have to unmute.
No, I think, yeah, I think I wasn't supposed to. I think I was clicking through trying to see the chat. So my bad. I didn't mean to raise my hand.
No worries, no worries. But we actually got 2 more people then. We got Pascal, so I'm going to allow her to talk, or him. Okay. And you should be able to talk now.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for allowing me to ask my question, and very interesting on talking about the customization. I'm the judge school principal at the United Nations International School, and I was very interested by this webinar because for the last couple of years, we have decided to design our own platform in order for us to be able to do everything we want to do in terms of automation. We have integrated AI so in our platform, and but it's a lot of work because we create everything because nothing was allowing us to support our process. So when you talk about customization, I'm really curious about how far the customization is going. I hear you, but I would like to see like some concrete example of how a school can customize. What can we customize? Because for me, that was the reason why we stopped using some platform designed by others at some point, is that those platforms force on us a process, which is, I think, what is the most critical. The process we're following are the one who makes sense for us, and a system force us to work in a certain direction. Can you give me some example between 2 different schools, a very specific example of how far the customization can go?
Absolutely. So we actually, Daniel, who's here on the call, and Oleg, they're actually working on 2 specific, 2 different things. For Daniel, he had this specific idea, the specific solution that he needed for, Pennsylvania, who recently passed an act, and, he had to do a lot of manual tasks for that. And Daniel, if you'd like to give talk a little bit about what we're doing for you, how that's being automated for you, you being able to see the prototypes now of how that's going to work for your school.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to. So, Pascal, one of the things that we are required as a state is we're supposed to create what's called a profile for our graduates. It's an act that allows us to say, have students met graduation requirements. And there's different aspects that go with it. Us as a school district have implemented our own profile of a graduate, and we want to make sure every single student is in there. So within this process, there's no student information system that allows us to customize what are the things that they need to have in there, what are the different aspects that are critical to saying they've met these graduation requirements, they're good to go. So in working with Junica, they've been creating this idea within each student's portfolio that they can create, and teachers can go in, students can go in and click in and add resources to there to demonstrate that they're doing this. So within the SIS, being able to add those attributes so a student can say, I have met the graduation requirements, which doesn't exist right now. You have to go to an outside one. You might use Naviance, you might use that Insight, something, an additional resource, an additional cost, and an additional integration that you have to do. So that's a perfect example of just working with them on that one aspect of customizing it according to what we're seeing in this state.
Absolutely. And then for Oleg's, it's a little bit different because he's actually customizing a full system. So I'll let you talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we're a little bit on the other side of things where we have a specific flow that we have in mind with the way that we run our private STEM center. And, we want a certain flow of where we want people to go into, be it a page or some type of a data entry location. And we've been able to really customize how we want the flow to look. What is the user going to see? What is the admin going to see? And we kind of started with that. And then we said, well, we're doing more than just managing students. We're also running events, for example. We're doing a lot of events and birthday parties. Wouldn't that be great if we could start managing that in the platform as well? So now we're building that out where now we can do payments. We can do quite a bit of different things around registration and tracking of different events and stakeholders and attendees and things like that. So we've gone really from sort of managing day-to-day school activities and student activities to now managing more around events and billing and things like that. And again, all in one platform, working all with one team. So I hope I addressed that perspective, Pascal and Angelica, but definitely.
I don't know if you can
see
hear me. I will have one more question.
Sure, sure.
Yep.
You can hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Perfect. So a very technical question. Thank you for the answer. I really appreciate. One of the things that I've noticed also in system design for schools is some are it's a bit technical, but I think it's very important for the work we're trying to do and the way I see managing the school, at least my school, it's the database. And I've noticed that some system we use different modules, so system can do different things, use different database that kind of like communicate one to another. And I found that those systems being a bit problematic. And there is other school system that use really only one database. So everything is connected to one database, which allow to have a better integrity of the data in some ways. Can you tell me, like in your system, is it like one database or based on the application that can be developed, it's different database that communicate one with another?
Absolutely. Well, within Junicasoft, we can actually make that happen. And it's something that we've actually spoke to Daniel about, having this student data warehouse. So everything is just in one place. It's something that we're working on to make sure that, because we understand because you have so many platforms, sometimes platform A doesn't really communicate with platform B. So you have those data discrepancies and you have to go in and manually update. So definitely that's something that we're creating. Again, this is why we're open to pilots. So for people who are looking to have that specific issue solved and have that expertise and know exactly how that, should look like, us as a techies, we can put that together to make sure, we have that end result that you're looking for.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Awesome. And that actually takes us to our next question and our last question as well, which is, the pace of innovation. You're trying to put these new systems in, you're trying to make sure that, you have that all-in-one school management system, or you have that database, and creating all these different systems that are going to work for your school. Should this be a slow and steady process, or does it have to be quick? Do you want to get this done as fast as possible? So, I'll be curious to see, Oleg, your perspective as a founder, and then we'll go from there. But Oleg, let's get started with you.
Yeah, I'm personally more of a shock the system type of approach is where I'm leaning towards. We certainly like the ability to implement something quickly and then make changes quickly as well, rather than spending more time up front trying to assess the system or the requirements and slowly implementing. So our position has been, and Junica has been a really good fit for that, is here's what we want. We want it fast. Let's get it rolling, and then let's just adjust as the needs or maybe as we're implementing and our assessments are evolving. So I would sort of lean towards the latter part of that being a more rapid adoption and a more higher pace of innovation.
Okay. Daniel, as a principal of a pretty big school, you have to manage, the teachers, you have to manage like everyone learning a new system. What are your thoughts? Would you agree that, if it's fast, it's good, or do you take a slow and steady approach instead?
This is a really good question, because we can all picture people on both sides of this fence, right? People that, nope, just give them the ball and run, and other ones that's like you're going to have to hold their hands the entire time. I have found that traditionally, if you have a slow and steady approach with the flexibility for your early adopters to do the rapid adoption, then that is great. And again, within the customization and things like that, I think that has been the part that in my conversations with Junica that I've been really excited about. It's just, it allows you to put things out there that can be successful for people no matter what their speed. We've implemented some things previously, and we've often put out there and said, hey, here are 3-year expectations. And when you set the bar at a slower speed, many people will then have that area of success. So we've seen that. The slow and steady has definitely worked better for my particular group just because of the size of us. However, I have been part of certain implementations where that rapid has worked well. So I think if you have the expectation of slow and steady, but you have the flexibility and you put expectations out there that allow for your go-getters to be the rapid adoption. I think that's the way to go. Now you as an administrator or Oleg, in your case, we don't have a choice. We are the rapid adoption because we have to be at the forefront of it. But I would say for somebody that has a large staff, having those two options is paramount.
Amazing. Amanda, any thoughts? Oh, you're muted.
I am so sorry about that. I think my answer could change given at this point. When asked this, if you would have asked me this a couple weeks ago, I would have said slow and steady. And it's very interesting because as the context changes with things that are happening, I'm now kind of like more of a balanced approach here because that I feel that I prefer slow and steady because I want to be very thoughtful about making sure the implementation goes smooth and well. I like to really think about phasing things in. I like to think about a timeline. I always want to think about a training schedule and how to roll it out, and that's communication. I'm a thinker. I like to take a big bird's eye view, a system approach of who is impacted, how are they impacted. However, I in my current position have seen where we have some unanticipated changes, and where now I have a situation where I do see where we need to adopt a system in one of my departments, and it can't come soon enough. And where I see a balanced approach, where perhaps like Daniel said, if you have some early adopters that can help move it along a little bit quicker, if there's an opportunity, where a pilot model with a pilot group of early adopters could help take this balanced kind of approach to see and where we can move it a little bit sooner. So I'm somewhere in the middle there. That is kind of depending on that context. But I think I still would say, in general, I tend to lean more towards a slow and steady because I want things to be done right. And I want things, I really want to make sure that, everybody that is affected or impacted is going to, thoroughly understand the why behind what we're doing and to use the system with fidelity.
Yeah, that's that's very good. And then Luis, as a teacher, you're in the classroom, you have to be with your students. When you're when you're giving a new platform, and you're told, hey, there's this new platform, learn it, live it, love it, use it. Is that something that you prefer, or as a teacher, you rather, have some training, have some meetings where you can, understand why this, platform is being given out to you guys?
I believe balanced approach is a better way. Allows to the gradual implementation of a new technology, which helps identify and address potential issues before they cause significant impacts. This reduce of risks of failure and minimize the resistance from teachers, students, and parents. So the students are more comfortable with the balanced approach. I believe it's a maximization of benefits. I believe that it combines the pace of innovation with caution. Schools can reap the benefits of a new technology without overwhelming the system of users. So I believe it's more respect for everyone. The balanced approach is better than the faster and goals. I believe it's more safety for everyone. The students are more comfortable with this, the parents, everyone.
Okay. And Oleg, when you try to implement, you said you're all for rapid adoption, and you have your teachers and you're trying to implement a new system. what would you do if you have like this resistance on the teacher side where they're like, I don't understand it, like I'm just not going to use it, which is something that Daniel mentioned as well. You know, you have these new platforms, and just because they're not, you know, they're not understanding, they just decide not to use them. How do you address that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things that we try to put in place are improvements from what we're already doing, right? And that's essentially the main purpose of implementing any type of technical solutions, that you're removing unnecessary steps, you're removing paper or manual processes, and you're obviously going to be saving time across the board. So I think a lot of if there is any resistance, Angelica, I would say it's more around just the familiarity with the tool, not necessarily a resistance to what the tool is going to do. So we just invest a little bit extra time, maybe a little bit more effort up front to train them, to explain how to use it. And then the benefits of the tool become very clear up front. But we feel like any tool that we were implementing is going to be an improvement, and the teachers understand that as well. So it's just a matter of getting them familiar with it, and then they're obviously up and running and, you know, actively using it themselves because it's saving them time.
Absolutely. No, that's great. I mean, and just to wrap it up, I think we're all on board that, you know, having a customizable school management system that can, you know, fit your school rather than, you know, the school adapting to the system is much better option. And, you know, being able to do this in a balanced way where, you know, it depends on your needs. If you're, you know, you want to go slow and steady because of the size, or you know, you want to go rapid, you know, just having those options would be something that, you know, if a company can give to you, then you know, you'd be definitely happy to do so. But yeah, I mean, just let's wrap it up. I would love to see if any of you have, you know, anything that you want to add. Again, for anyone that's on the attendee list, if you guys want to add something, ask a question, feel free to raise your hand or send it on the chat. We're more than happy to address it. I do see we have 2 hands up. Brandy, I'm gonna allow your microphone. And there you go, Brandy.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
My question is, with all of the school districts, I was a few minutes in getting in late, I think. Are these all quite large school districts? Because my district is a preschool through 12, all in one building, about 330 kids. So I was just wondering the comparison, the implementation from a larger district to smaller, if that may, you know, if anyone saw the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the platform that we're creating is meant to adapt to any type of school size, you know, in public or private. But for example, Daniel, you come from a pretty big district, am I correct? Could you give us maybe some idea how big that is?
Yeah, our total district, if you look K through 12, we're over 6,700. So a little bit larger than you, Brandy. And I think when you look at it from that lens, it's still the same implementation process. So everything that you're doing, from the input output of the system, as well as the customization, all those different things, I don't think that varies too much. So I think if you're looking at it and saying what systems that they need to talk to, I think it will be universally consistent between districts, no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Oleg is actually a founder of the school, so it is smaller than, you know, than the district from Daniel comes from.
Very small school, under 100 students. Most of them are in after-school programs. Obviously, it's a much smaller size of staff and teachers as well. So yeah.
So when you were doing it, were you able, I guess, to be more rapid with the adoption because there weren't as many, or did you do the slow and steady approach just to make sure, you know, everybody was on the same page?
Is that a question for Daniel, Oleg, both?
For Daniel, yeah, for Daniel, was he able to accelerate a little bit? Did he feel like, because he was a smaller district?
So what we're doing is we're utilizing like a spare server. So what we're going to do is we're going to utilize Junicasoft within that to work out all of those particular issues on our end before doing a full implementation. So from our particular lens, based upon looking at all the different platforms that we use, because we have for our total student information, we have our financial end of it, we have the student end of it, we also have the HR part of it. So we're working through all this. We're using a test server to do those to see where there might be potential needs and things that we have to adjust.
I apologize. That question was for the other fellow with the smaller school.
Oh, sure.
Sorry.
No, that's no problem. Yeah, I mean, I can tell you that for us personally, and I've done a lot of software implementation across a bit different industries. It's the pace that we want to move at, meaning we, the staff and the founders. The software itself, the platform, is not a limitation in any degree. We've actually found it to be quite easy to work with, very good support, and we've been able to move at a very, very rapid pace. I don't know if you heard us talking earlier, Brandy, but we were sort of saying the two different approaches. Our approach has been the rapid adoption, be very aggressive with the implementation, and then just adjust. So that's been our approach, and we found Junicasoft supporting us in that approach.
So you found it easy to adjust, I guess, is the, because
Exactly.
sometimes when you adopt a software, you get into it and then you figure out something's not right, and then it's hard to go back and redo that. So you find it easy to like kind of stop,
Right.
readjust, and keep accelerating.
Yeah, exactly. And then sort of operational level examples of that is, we ask for this screen to have this and this button. It's done in within a couple hours or a day or so. We look at it, we test it. Not going to work here. Can we move it here? It's kind of that type of thing to some degree. So yeah, we've found it to be quite easy from not upgrading, but customizing or sort of changing the flow to fit our needs perspective.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sure.
And as Junicasoft, we have this kind of like the risk-free approach where you have this idea, you have this you already know how the system should work. Then you come to us and you tell us your specifications. We'll build out a prototype. You get to take a look at it. You tell us, hey, let's change it here, just like Oleg said, right? No, let's move it. So you actually get to see the system. You actually get to pick what you want to move, how you want it to work. And only after you say, okay, now it's perfect, then we can go into the implementation part. So it's kind of like that risk-free approach where you're not just implementing something and then finding out a month or two later that, oh, wait, it doesn't actually work, right? So it's the other way around. We want to make sure it works first and then, go ahead with the implementation.
Yeah, that was my main concern with the buy-in, if I get halfway through and then my teachers revolt on me.
Yeah, exactly. So we're definitely happy to take that approach. And then I have one more hand, and it's Pascal. So I'm gonna unmute you again. Go ahead. You're muted.
Not raising my hand, it's an accident. Sorry
Oh,
about
okay,
that.
okay.
I was
No worries,
listening,
no.
I was diving into what you were sharing, but I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry for that.
No worries, no worries. You're good. Awesome. So I think those are all of the questions. Panelists, is there anything else that you'd like to add, before we wrap up? All good?
Just thank you for the opportunity.
No, thank you guys for joining. Thank you for, taking the time to talk with us. If anyone is interested in what we discussed, the system, if you weren't able to scan the first QR for the pilot, feel free to scan, my QR here. You can feel free to add me on LinkedIn, send me a message. I'm more than happy to connect. And yeah, we can talk about pilots. We can talk about, jumping on a call with the team. And yeah, awesome. Super happy. Super excited to get things going for you if you already have a plan. And, we look forward to keep working with you, Oleg, Daniel, Amanda, Luis. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No problem. No problem.
Thank you,
Bye, guys.
guys. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank
Have a lovely day.
Take care.